Most SUVs rolling off assembly lines right now will not see 200,000 miles without major surgery. That's not my opinion. That's what the repair orders say across more than 3,000 vehicles that have crossed my lifts. 12 SUVs are the exception. And Consumer Reports' newest reliability data, built from surveys covering hundreds of thousands of real owners, backs every one of them. Here's the part that ought to make you smile. For years, they said the old school crowd was behind the times for wanting simple machines that last. Then, the newest survey landed, and the least reliable list filled up with electric and plug-in models, while the simple, proven hybrid systems didn't put a single model on it. You were right, the data caught up. Number 1 on this list is a 3-row Toyota that pulled off something almost nobody does. A top pick award and the best reliability score in its class in the same year. That's it on the thumbnail, and the reason it wins says everything about where car building went wrong everywhere else. 12 SUVs, the exact models, the exact engines, and what they'll save you. Number 12, Subaru Crosstrek. The Crosstrek earned a top pick from Consumer Reports for 2026, and the recipe is almost boring, which is exactly the point. One naturally aspirated 2.5-liter 4-cylinder, no turbo hanging off it, no direct injection drama, standard all-wheel drive, and a curb weight the engine never struggles against. Park it next to the turbocharged subcompacts it competes with and check back at 120,000 miles. The turbo crowd is into carbon cleanings, wastegate rattles, and oil-starved bearings. The Crosstrek is into its third set of tires. Same class, same roads, completely different second decade. One honest note, because you'd call me on it anyway. It runs a CVT, but Subaru's chain-driven unit has built a service record that reads nothing like the horror stories. And a fluid service on schedule keeps it that way. Routine upkeep runs $450 to $650 a year, and that's the whole story. Boring is what lasting looks like. It carries real ground clearance too, more than most so-called SUVs, twice its price. So the rough driveway and the unplowed road don't punish the underside. Practical where it counts, and cheap where it counts. Number 11, Toyota Crown Signia. Most people walk right past this one because Toyota gave its most sensible SUV a name nobody recognizes. Underneath, it's the company's proven hybrid drive, a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder working through a power split system with a planetary gear set where a transmission would normally be. Think about what that removes. No clutches to burn, no torque converter to shudder, no belt squeezed between pulleys waiting to slip. The parts that fail in ordinary drivetrains simply are not in the car. I've had hybrid systems like this one apart, and the wear items you'd expect just aren't wearing. The engineering doesn't leave them away too. Consumer Reports rankings put it at the top of the mainstream 2-row class, and the fuel economy lands in the high 30s. Wagon practicality, hatchback running costs. There's a reason you see this exact hybrid hardware racking up 500,000 miles in taxi fleets around the world. Fleet buyers don't care about badges or brochures. They care about which drivetrain still runs after a decade of abuse, and they vote with money that has to come back. The badge is unfamiliar. Everything underneath it has been proving itself for 20 years. Number 10, Honda Passport. The Passport is what happens when Honda builds an SUV the old way on purpose. A 3.5-liter V6 from an engine family that's been refined for decades, a conventional automatic, and no gimmicks bolted on to chase a fuel economy headline. Consumer Reports' 2026 owner survey scored it well above average, and in their mid-sized rankings, it tied for the top spot. That's survey data from real driveways, not a brochure promise. The trade is honest, and Consumer Reports says so themselves. Fuel economy in the low 20s. You're buying displacement instead of boost, and displacement doesn't wear out. There's a quieter advantage under the hood, too. This V6 runs a timing chain built to go the life of the engine, not a rubber belt on a replacement schedule. No 5-figure interval where a snapped belt takes the whole engine with it, one less clock ticking against you. For the international viewers, this is the closest thing America still builds to the philosophy your old diesels ran on. Understressed, oversized, and indifferent to abuse. If the fuel bill fits your budget, the repair bill never shows up to compete with it. Number 9. Subaru Outback. The Outback tied for first place in Consumer Reports' most recent 2-row SUV rankings, sharing the podium with the Crown Signia you just met and getting there the opposite way. No hybrid system at all. A gas boxer engine sitting low and flat, a layout Subaru has been refining since your first mortgage. These are the cars I see come out of Salt Belt winters at 200,000 miles still on their original drivetrain. The body panels surrender to rust before the mechanicals surrender to anything. Farm roads, gravel driveways, plow duty behind a small trailer. The Outback treats all of it as a normal Tuesday. The low flat engine isn't just a quirk either. Sitting the cylinders horizontally drops the car's center of gravity, which is why an Outback stays planted on an icy on-ramp where a tall crossover gets nervous, a durability story, and a safety story sharing one design. It shares the Crosstrek's honest annual upkeep story, and it carries twice the dog, lumber, and grandkid capacity while doing it. Simple, flat, and low. Keep it simple and it'll last longer was never just a saying. Subaru built a whole car out of it. Number 8. Mazda CX-5. Consumer Reports' own reporting calls the CX-5 very reliable across 11 straight years of data. And the reason is a decision Mazda made that the rest of the industry laughed at. While everyone else chased CVTs and dual-clutch gearboxes, Mazda kept a plain 6-speed automatic with a torque converter. The transmission every mechanic already trusted, in an era when trusting a transmission became rare. A retired surveyor in Reno brought me his 2016 CX-5 before a long trip, 180,000 miles on it. The full repair history fit on an index card, brakes, a battery, one wheel bearing. His neighbor's turbocharged crossover, same age, was averaging $1,000 to $1,700 a year in out-of-warranty repairs. The surveyor's card said the CX-5 hadn't managed that much in 5 years combined. He didn't baby it, he just bought the one built by people who refused to fix what wasn't broken. The naturally aspirated engine drinks regular, the interior outclasses its price, and the used market is full of them. That last part matters more than it sounds. Because Mazda built so many of these so consistently for over a decade, a clean used one is easy to find and priced within reach. You're not hunting a unicorn, you're picking the best example off a full shelf. Number 7. Lexus NX Hybrid. Here's where I save the luxury buyers among you some real money. The NX Hybrid is a repeat Consumer Reports top pick in the luxury compact class, and it scored near the top of its category in the newest owner survey. Set it against the German compact luxury crossovers it competes with, and watch what happens after the warranty runs out. The German options settle into $1,700 to $2,600 a year in upkeep. Gaskets, carbon services, electronics modules, each visit billed at import labor rates. The NX runs Toyota's hybrid hardware in a nicer suit. Same planetary drive as the Crown Signia, same habit of not braking, wrapped in a cabin that embarrasses cars costing more. And before anyone asks about the hybrid battery, the question every skeptic raises first, these packs are routinely outlasting the loans that bought them. Toyota and Lexus hybrid batteries regularly go 15 years and pass 200,000 miles, and the warranty behind them runs longer than most gas engines survive untouched. The thing people fear about hybrids is the thing that breaks least. Luxury normally means paying twice, once at the dealer and forever afterward at the service desk. This is the one that only charges you the first time. Number 6. Hyundai Tucson. Stay with me on this one, because I know what some of you are thinking. If you watched my other list, you saw Hyundai's older engines land at the very top of the do not buy pile. The seized bearings, the fires, the billion-dollar settlement. Every word of that is true, and I'm not taking any of it back. But I follow the data, not a grudge. And the data changed. Consumer Reports' newest owner survey names the gas-powered Tucson the most reliable compact SUV in this year's results. Not the plug-in, not the hybrid, the plain gasoline version, the simple one. That's the whole lesson of this channel in a single model. Hyundai got burned worst on its most complicated boosted engines, and its most reliable SUV today is the one carrying the least technology. The company that built the #1 car to avoid also builds a top-of-survey SUV. Both things are true, because the difference was never the badge. It was how much they tried to overcomplicate what's under the hood. Here's my honest guidance, plainer than a salesman will ever give you. Buy the gas Tucson, skip the plug-in version, and you're getting the model real owners rated the best in its class. The technology they left out is the technology that would have broken, which raises a question worth putting to you directly. When you shop your next SUV, are you buying the version with the most features on the window sticker, or the fewest things that can fail? Drop your answer in the comments. I read them, and the split always tells a story. Number 5. Toyota Highlander Hybrid. The Highlander Hybrid is the 3-row so many families quietly drive to 400,000 miles. Consumer Reports gives its hybrid version consistently strong reliability marks, and there's a reason the airport shuttle and the rideshare driver both gravitate to this exact vehicle. When your income depends on the odometer, you don't gamble on the drivetrain. It's the same proven hybrid architecture running through half this list, scaled up to haul 8 people. The planetary drive, the electric motors sharing the load, the gas engine that gets to loaf instead of strain. An engine that loafs is an engine that lasts. Heat and stress kill motors, and a hybrid setup hands the hardest work to the electric side, so the gasoline half spends its life barely breaking a sweat. 35 miles per gallon out of a 3-row hauler used to be a fantasy. Toyota made it the reliable choice, which almost never happens in the same sentence. Put the money in perspective. Owners of the fragile turbocharged 3 rows on the other lots can face $5,000 to $7,500 the day a boosted engine or its complicated transmission finally lets go out of warranty. The Highlander hybrid owner spends those years buying oil changes and tires. Same family, same school run, wildly different bank balance. If you need 3 rows and you plan to keep it forever, this is the short list. Number 4, Honda CR-V Hybrid. The CR-V has been the sensible answer for 30 years, and the hybrid version is the best one Honda has ever built. Consumer Reports scored it near the top of the compact class in the latest survey, and it earns that the hard way, Honda's 2-motor hybrid system, is genuinely one of the cleverest, simplest layouts in the business. At most speeds, the gas engine isn't even driving the wheels directly. It's running a generator, feeding the electric motor that does the actual pushing, which means the engine spends most of its life at the steady, gentle load that engines live longest under. Here's a small mercy for your wallet that nobody mentions. Because the hybrid system slows the car with its motors, the brake pads barely wear. Owners routinely go years longer between brake jobs, saving $300 to nearly $500 a service you're simply not paying for. Quick reminder, while we're on the ones worth owning, if this list is helping you keep your money where it belongs, hit that subscribe button. It's free, and it keeps these coming. Because the next 2 SUVs are where reliable stops being a compromise and starts being the entire point. Number 3, Lexus RX Hybrid. The RX Hybrid is where the whole argument of this list stops being about saving money and starts being about winning outright. In its luxury midsize class, Consumer Reports' predicted reliability puts the RX Hybrid roughly 10% ahead of the highly rated BMW X5, and since its last redesign, it has pulled top marks in category after category, year after year. Sit with what that means. The most reliable choice in the segment is also the genuinely luxurious one. You are not trading comfort for dependability. You're getting both from the same badge that's owned this space for 2 decades. A retired game warden up in Burlington, Vermont told me he'd spent 30 years beating trucks to death on fire roads and was done fixing things. He bought an RX Hybrid to finally stop wrenching on his own driveway. 4 years in, the only things he's paid for are tires, wiper blades, and cabin air filters. He said it was the first vehicle he'd ever owned that made him feel like he'd finally stopped being the sucker. That feeling, that you finally bought the one that doesn't take from you, is the whole reason this list exists. Resale holds near the top of the class too, so the money you don't spend fixing it, you don't lose reselling it either. Number 2, Subaru Forester Hybrid. For 2026, Subaru finally did the thing owners had been asking for. They put a real hybrid system in the Forester, and it landed as one of the most reliable choices in the entire compact class. This is worth understanding, because Subaru didn't build their hybrid alone. They partnered with Toyota and brought the proven planetary hybrid drive into the Boxer engine all-wheel drive package Forester buyers already trusted. Take a second on that. The most dependable hybrid design in the business dropped into the workhorse body that already had a reputation for outliving its owner's patience for new car payments. That's the safest kind of new engineering that's actually a decade old somewhere else, proven on a million other cars before it ever reached your driveway. You get the tall glass, the standard all-wheel drive, the visibility older eyes appreciate, and now a drivetrain that sips fuel instead of straining. For the winter country and the gravel road crowd, this is close to the perfect last vehicle. Simple bones, proven heart, and a body built for people who actually use an SUV. Subaru waited until they could do it right, and the survey rewarded the patience. Number 1, Toyota Grand Highlander Hybrid. Here's the SUV on the thumbnail, and here's why it takes the top spot outright. Consumer Reports named the Grand Highlander their top pick among mid-sized SUVs for 2026, and in the same breath, its hybrid version posted the best reliability score in the entire category. A vehicle almost never wins the award and tops the dependability chart in the same year. This one did both. Understand what that combination means, because it's rarer than it sounds. Plenty of vehicles are reliable but forgettable, and plenty are impressive but fragile. To be the one the experts pick and the one that breaks down least at the same time, a company has to refuse every shortcut the rest of the industry took. Toyota built it with the hybrid four-cylinder doing the same trick that runs through this whole list. The electric motors carry the strain so the engine never has to. In Consumer Reports' own testing, it matched the thirsty turbocharged version's muscle while returning about 35 miles per gallon. Read that again. The reliable choice was also the more powerful choice and the cheaper-to-run choice. There was no compromise to make. The engineering simply beat the alternative on every front that matters. And it seats 8. This isn't a hairshirt Econobox you tolerate to save money. It's the full-size family hauler that happens to be the smartest financial decision on the lot. For the retiree telling me this is the last vehicle they ever want to buy, the one that has to start every morning, haul the grandkids, and never once force a payment back onto a fixed income, this is the one I'd put my own name behind. That's what the top of this list has in common. Not one of these 12 chased the fragile, complicated technology that fills the repair bays. They kept it simple, and simple is what still runs at 300,000 miles. You spent years being told you were behind the times for believing that. The newest data didn't just agree with you. It put your philosophy at the top of every chart that counts. Now, you know exactly which 12 to buy. The other half of this story is the one I'd never let you walk onto a lot without. I made a companion list. The used SUVs and cars that won't see 60,000 miles and will bleed you dry. It's on your screen right now. Watch that one before you sign anything.